is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. Before I go any further, I'm just going to talk about safety and public attendance at council and committee meetings. The Town of Gawler welcomes and encourages public attendance at all council and other meetings and workshops. Members of the community can request to speak as a formal deputation. You need to be aware that although your views are welcomed, you will not be able to take a direct part in the debate on any particular item. You can come and go at any time, but please try to avoid disrupting the meeting when leaving. We try and ensure items of public interest are discussed early on the agenda. Disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated, and in accordance with Section 30 of the Local Government Procedures at Meetings Regulations 2013, there can be fines imposed, although I don't think we've ever done that. So just please be mindful of safety concerns. Please be respectful in your language. Certainly we can have robust discussion, but just be respectful. That's, I think, the main aim of these statements that I've just read out. So thank you everyone for allowing me to do that. So I'll go to attendance records. We do have an apology from Councillor Brian Samble, and that is all. Everyone else is here. Are there any motions to grant leave of absence, councillors? There be none. There's no leave of absence on the books, and there's no non-attendance. Now to deputations. We have a couple of people that wish to speak. We have Tony Piccolo MP, Sue Goodwins and Ian Tooley in that order. So Tony Piccolo, if you'd like to come first, you have 5 minutes and I'll give you a 30-second warning. Thank you, Tony. You just turn it on, I can get that on for you. There you go.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, councillors, for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Your Worship, I'm here tonight to actually speak in support of the would-be residents, because they're not residents yet, of the Aspire estate. And they're very keen to have the dispute between the council and the developers of the Aspire estate resolved because of the impact they're having on them. What I'd like to do is just perhaps put this issue in some context. In this country, and certainly in this community as well, we have the worst housing crisis in history. And that's just the backdrop to what we actually are considering this matter tonight. The decisions you make are not victimless. They have, at this point in time, at least 8, and maybe only 7, because some people report out, the decisions you've made to date have had an impact on the lives of these individuals. If this were a dispute between local government and the state government, you actually would say this is an effort of cost shifting, because what's happened in this case is that the council, in my opinion, has shifted the cost and the burden of this particular development to these 11 residents. More importantly though, for those who are first home buyers, the delays which have started back from November last year have robbed these people of the joy and excitement from building their first home. And all of us can remember our first home, the sense of joy, of excitement and achievement we feel. These people have been waiting for 8, 11 months, some of them longer, to do that. If council was to resolve in their favour tonight, it'd be still 12 months before they can actually build their home, before they can actually move into their home. So it'll be over 2 years. These people have gone through the anguish of not knowing they actually can build and move into a home. And that's important, and I'll come back to that in a second. There's a huge direct and indirect cost to the people involved. And at some point, council must also consider whether the benefit it perceives it will receive actually outweighs the costs to these individual ratepayers. This is not some sort of abstract decision. These are real people experiencing real pain. And I would ask that you, I would urge you to bring this matter to an end and agree to the offer. I mentioned some of the costs, and these are figures been provided by the landowners to me. Of the 8, 6 have provided figures. Landowner 1, an additional $40,000 contract. The contract gone up by $40,000. And additionally, some of the extras they had included in the original contract have been removed to reduce the cost. Landowner 2, $33,500 increase in the contract, let alone the rent they're paying where they are now before they can move in. Number 3, $54,060 in contract increase. Number 4, $77,960 lost, and they also lost the opportunity to have a first homeowners grant, building contract, etc. increase in rent. Next one, $63,740, $60,000. In total, $329,260 for the people who responded. If you extrapolate that to the people involved, it's $439,013 in additional costs to these individuals, let alone interest on additional loans, which they'll be paying over years. So that's why I say to you tonight, I would urge you to try to resolve this matter tonight. This is your last opportunity to resolve it in terms of you go to caretaker to stop the pain for these individuals. And I say I would urge you to accept the offer, and I'll explain why, because I do know.
30 seconds, thank you, Tony.
I do know what the offer is. The developers have told me what the offer is, and the developers have also given me correspondence what the offer was November last year. They're identical offers. Okay, so all this pain for these individuals, and the good thing about this is the developers have not withdrawn their offer or reduced their offer. They've kept it. That's certainly a plus for council. I would urge you to support it.
Thank you. The next person is Sue Goodwin. If Sue could come forward, please. Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. I want to thank council for the opportunity to speak again. I'm speaking on behalf of my daughter and son-in-law, Stephanie and Benjamin White, who have been living with us for 12 months now in preparation for what they hoped in anticipation of building and moving into their new home. Steph and Ben got married last year, found a block of land and moved into us. This is information I provided at the last council meeting. They feel like they have had a handbrake put on their lives and their dreams and their aspirations. To hear my daughter say that she's over it and willing to just give up and she's never going to build a house and own her own home is quite devastating for all of us as a family. They're starting, they've actually attended some resilience training sessions because of the stress and distress that this has caused for them as a young married couple living in our home. Their excitement to build is waning, but apart from that, there is the cost. They moved in with us in anticipation of being able to set their financial future more secure, but those costs and those savings have actually been taken up by increased charges that have been laid upon them because of the delays in their build. They have a contract to build, and in fact, they've actually had building approval provided by council. They're ready to go. The problem with that is that the building contract that they currently have in place is only in place for 3 months. And we don't know what will happen to those charges again if that build does not happen, or at least an agreement to be able to commence building within the next 3 months. I'm not sure if council are even aware where these blocks are in the estate. They're not a group of blocks to one side of the estate. They are blocks that I have dotted out on this map that are right in the middle of previous or existing homes, or homes that are actually being built at the moment. They are an eyesore to the estate. They are an eyesore to the people currently living there. And they are an eyesore and a reminder to these people whose lives have been put on hold. I urge the council to consider this when making their decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mr. Ian Tory. Mr. Ian Tory. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Ian Tooley, former councillor and deputy mayor. I was at a cafe not that long ago when some people sought me out. They said, "We recognise you as a councillor and former mayor, and we'd like to share something with you." That's when I first became aware of these landholders and their issue. And then it started to ring a bell with Aspire, because I remember attending a meeting, I'm going to say probably 4 years ago. I reckon it was about the change of the elections. I think Tony Piccolo called the meeting. It was down on the reserve. I know the mayor attended. I know that I think Cody was about to run for council, had just run. There was a number of us met with the community of Aspire down on that front section. We looked across the reserve, and the issue was around the reserve and whether it would have a running track and what have you. And then I remember it connected. I remember some ongoing discussions about there being a possibility of a childcare centre being built pretty close to the Trinity. So what they were saying to me, there were connections. And then it went on to say that most of the Aspire estate is completed, but they cannot understand why their land is not being released so that they can build on it. And they said it comes down to a dispute between the council and the developer. And they said they'd made approaches and they were getting nowhere. The developer had made approaches, were getting nowhere. I said to them, well, there's a couple of strategies that I know work. We've used the gallery before, effectively, Hindmarsh Boulevard, Eckermann Avenue. People are learning the power of coming and speaking and let faces be seen. And I said, have you let your local member know, Tony Piccolo? Not long after that, I got advised that there was a meeting, I'm going to say about 2 weeks ago. I think it was reported this week that Tony Piccolo had organised. I went along, Jim went along, Nathan went along. There were a few of us that went along to that meeting, and we heard firsthand from the people what the situation was. I got some more information. I asked some more people. I would capture it this way. They say they're being held at ransom because there's a dispute between Mr. and Nat on behalf of the council and the developer that says there's certain things that council wants in that reserve behind the rusty fingernails, and it's a sticking point. I did a bit more research and I found, this is what I'm told, that there's a certain guarantee that the council needs that is developed. Understand that. It's in the deeds, if that's the right term. And I'm told that the developer has made the financial security actually available that says to Mr. and Nat and to the council that whatever happens with the childcare issue, if that's a sticking point, the money is there to finish what we're committed to do as a developer. You will get your reserve. So then I'm asking myself, well, how come, if that's the case, how come these people are being used, as they say, as pawns in this? It's Mr. Nat and his administration are not going to release that land and let them go on until the outcome they want is achieved for that open space. But the money is secure. The money is there. Council will be able to do what it wants. The money has come in from the developer. I don't understand, therefore, how these people, they appear to me, from me driving around the estate, they appear to be the last remnant of blocks to be built. As the lady said, the grass is overgrown, the other buildings around them are developed, and yet they can't develop. And we've heard tonight from Tony the figures of how this is going up in price. Councillor Shanks works in the building industry. He's shared with you many times the reality of what it's like right now in the building trade. And these people are having their dreams robbed because of a dispute that seems to me to have already been solved. And the other thing I've learned is that Mr. Anat has access to the unlimited public funds to fight this legally. Yeah, I know there's 30 seconds left. Thank you, Mr. Anat.
30 seconds,
Thank you very much. He has access to unlimited funds. And I've seen this as a councillor, that this council does not mind fighting stuff. We saw the money wasted on those Churchill tennis courts. How many hundreds of thousands were wasted on that, fighting the fight that happened? And I've seen this so many times. Public money, my rates, used because you can. And the opposite is you could settle and get it done and let these people get on with their dreams.
Thank you.
And not waste my public money.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the deputations. Thank you, everyone who spoke. We'll move on to declarations of interest. Councillor Goldstone. Oh, excellent.
Item 6.1, and I'll declare the interest at that time.
You'll declare it then?
Yeah.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Hughes.
Same 6.1, I'll make a declaration at that stage.
Thank you. Okay, so Councillor Shanks, I think you've got a motion that you'd like to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to those who came in the gallery and presented tonight. I think it's very important that elected members hear this. That's why I've got the motion there on the table, that we really receive what we've heard tonight, and you know that we have a recommendation in confidence. I guess why this is so important to me as an elected member is because the full magnitude of this item really only became clear to me when I attended this public meeting. Since such time, I've started asking my own questions and started doing my own due diligence. And to be honest, I'm really actually pissed off, and I apologise for my language on that. This one is pretty close to me because 10 years ago, I was building my own house, and I had problems at the age of 21. I bought my block and coming off my apprenticeship, and I ended up with an extra bill of nearly $20,000. And I know that the extra costs of the people tonight is over double that. But that was crippling for me. That really put a handbrake on my life at the time. And what we had to do as a young couple to be able to correct our trajectory was pretty bloody hard, to be honest. Now, that was some latent conditions that was forced upon me from something that happened in the land. You know, it was a roll of the dice of the block that I bought. This handbrake could have been taken off a way longer time ago, and it hasn't happened. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we're even here tonight to try to correct the trajectory. And Tony Piccolo's right when he says it's going to take another 12 months. Yeah, like I said, I'm embarrassed to be here tonight to be discussing this. But I do thank the presenters, and hopefully we can leave this room tonight with some better news.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vallelonga, do you wish to speak at all? Any other discussion? There's no further discussion. I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor Koch. 6.1, do you wish to speak to it, please?
Yeah,
There are a couple of people that need to be removed from that. The Community and Strategy Manager, the Finance and Corporate Governance. Have you taken them out already, Jordan? and the manager infrastructure and operations. Thank you. They're not here. So, yes, over to you, Councillor
Look,
Koch.
I'd like to move that we go into confidence.
Oh, just one moment. I'll take the conflict question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, apologies. And then I'll come back to you, Councillor
Yep.
Koch. Sorry, Councillor Goldstone.
That's okay. Yeah, look, I will declare a perceived conflict of interest in this item as I'm council's representative on the CAT. To my recollection, I've had no direct involvement in land divisions associated with the matter, and I'll come to the meeting with an open mind in the best interest of the community. I'll remain in the chamber and I will vote on the matter.
Thank you. I think Deputy Mayor, I need to go across to you now.
Yes, as a deputy member of the council's assessment panel, I'll be declaring perceived interest in this matter, and as similar to Councillor Goldstone, will be staying in the room and voting on the matter.
Thank you. I'll go back to you now, Councillor Koch. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yep, I wish to move this motion pursuant to section 90, and there's a number of sections there, but broadly speaking is to do with information disclosure which could reasonably expected to confer commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is proposing to conduct this business because of legal advice, information relating to actual litigation, and information, the disclosure of which could devolve information provided on a confidential basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion to go into confidence? Councillor Fraser, do you wish to say anything? So it's seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any other discussion? Councillor Shanks and then Councillor Vallelonga. Just turn that off. Thank you. Yep, there you go, Nathan.
I'm a little bit perplexed here. The offer is an open offer and is in the public realm. So I'm not 100% sure why the open settlement offer, why we would discuss this in confidence. And given the recommendation, I'm also a little bit confused why we would discuss this in confidence. I will remind members that we're not allowed to just put things in confidence because they're awkward and we may be embarrassed by them.
I think for clarification, it's quite clear that Councillor Koch, I think you mentioned commercial advantage, legal advice, and also litigation, and also Minister of the Crown, etc. So I think that has been explained. However, you have a right to have your view, Councillor Shanks. Councillor Vallelonga.
I just do agree with Nathan. I'm not too sure where the legality is. It's like you said, it's in the public realm, and I don't think that you've told us what the legalities are, so we can't make our mind up on that.
Well, you do have an agenda that you've been provided, which provides the details. So I assume that you've read it, Councillor Vallelonga, and it details that in there, which I won't go into. Okay, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Councillor Goldstone.
Yeah, I actually think there's good reason to go into confidence for the reasons that are detailed in the actual report. In terms of the outcome, well, that's another matter. I don't think that necessarily has to remain confidential, or whatever the outcome is. But in terms of discussing it, it should be confidential.
Thank you, Councillor Little, and then Councillor Davies.
No, I just, my mind boggles why it's in confidence. It's public knowledge. So to me, it's just crazy going in confidence. That's what I hate about this council. We go into confidence all the time with trivial matters. As far as I'm concerned, if we vote to go into confidence tonight, I'm going to walk out of this chamber because I think it's disgusting.
Councillor Davies.
So I guess just a question around well, we haven't discussed the matter yet, but whether
No.
that can come out of confidence.
We'll discuss that
All right.
at the time. Yeah. There's always a possibility that that could occur, yes. Okay, we have a mover. I think everyone's spoken pretty much. Mr. Peter Saltus, do you wish to make any comment at this stage? If you do, if you could go to the microphone and turn it on, just to advise the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just say from a, as a lawyer, from a legal perspective, my advice would be to consider the matter in confidence for the reasons that have been outlined. This council has been threatened with litigation. That's a live threat. You would be ill-advised to discuss matters in public, which could then be used against you in court in litigation. So that's one reason. I guess insofar as I'm here, if I'm asked to give advice or to answer questions, normally legal advice is confidential and is protected by privilege. If that's that advice is given in public, without privilege is waived. So for those two reasons, I'd recommend the motion.
Thank you. Okay. So Councillor Koch, do you wish to say any more? Or are you happy for me to put the motion? I'll put that motion that we go into confidence. All those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against? It is, no, not yet. It is carried on the casting vote of the Mayor. Now you can call a division. So all those in favour, please stand. All those in favour, please stand. I'm going to call your names out. Councillor Koch, Councillor Goldstone, Deputy Mayor Hughes, Councillor Fraser. All those against is Councillor Davies, Councillor Vallelonga, Councillor Little and Councillor Shanks, and it is carried on the casting vote of the Mayor. Thank you. So we will go into confidence and discuss this matter. Thank you, everyone.